Okay, so I'm doing something a little different today. I'm not in public, but I feel at least still comfortable. Like, I don't feel surrounded by people right now, even though I am, but they seem busy. And I'm not going to like go into any depth. I might pull like one or two cards, but I want to sit here and say that, a couple things. Like, yesterday I posted a video and I was very like, dude, I was at my wits' end, and I still am, honestly. Um, but I do feel better today, like a little bit better, but I still feel very tired. Um, and by tired, I mean just kind of like drained energy. And like not in a way that's like, oh no, she needs vitamins, or oh, she needs this, or da da da. It's just like, no, like I'm exhausted. Like I have been doing the same, I have been trying to solve problem after problem after problem, like problem, whatever, equation, whatever, however, day after day after day for like 4 months straight. Okay, that's exhausting. Like I'm exhausted by that. And not only that, like I'm doing it all alone, which is fine. Trust me, I do everything alone, and I have for a very long time. I have traveled to, seemingly sketchy places alone, and I've done fine. And I've been alone. It's not a new thing for me. If anything, my most recent in Los Angeles, everything is so related, so connected to networking and who you know, etc. So like, I actually was pushing myself beyond my own personal boundaries to like make friends and be social, because it is my nature to be alone. It is my in my more normal nature to be introspective, and I feel like since being in Los Angeles, I've been able to develop skill sets that were, not the most inherent. I mean, they were in there and they expressed themselves, like I I got to know myself in that expression, that external expression, and that's good, because you need both. You need to be, you know, introverted and extroverted. You need to have the capacity to do both. You need to have the capacity to be very feminine. You need to have the capacity to be more masculine. And it's like, to me, it's not like necessarily a balance. It's like a fluctuation, an appropriate fluctuation, an appropriate choice of arsenal, and having a familiarity with the tools in your tool belt and developing them. And so, yeah, being social, and each skill set, each tool it's a double-edged sword. It can, cut through those limitations that you're trying to, you know, address. Sorry, that guy's making like the silliest face. Anyway, yeah, I thought he was back. No, but you have to have the ability to cut through the limitations that you're trying to cut through, but then not taking it too far towards like a detriment, and you're being, I mean, inconsiderate. Like, let's consider this topic of socializing, or like being social, or like developing friends, and you know, and the potentials that can come from that development of network. It's like, on the other side of it, you can become dependent on other people, and when everyone goes away, like you don't even know yourself and all that. So I genuinely like, no, I don't think I've ever really struggled with that. I feel like I was playing more of a part by being overly social, and like, because I was like, whatever I'm doing in Los Angeles, like it could go so against me. Like being an introvert in Los Angeles and being like overly in that feminine energy in Los Angeles, like unless you're rich, like that's sabotage. And so that's what I started to realize, is that like, no, like I have to push myself outside of like what's comfortable, and be, willing to socialize with people that honestly, if I was in Texas, like growing up, I would be like, nah, like not into it, or like that's not my kind of people or whatever. But here, like my I mean, what I mean by that is like there's certain things that I tolerate out here because of just the general atmosphere of Los Angeles that at home would feel like, oh gosh, this person thinks that they're like so cool, and they have like a huge ego and all this. Like, it's really like coming from like the Austin area, um, that kind of stuff really sticks out, and we're really down to earth, and like, um, anyway, um, no, like that stuff would not be like humored, entertained at all. But like when I first moved here, I was like, you couldn't escape it. So I was like, well, damn, I'm about to have to like befriend this egocentric expression of human character because it's unavoidable, So I started to be able to find the goodness beyond that. Like, and I also began to see it like as a survival strategy in a lot of ways. So, but then that's where the double-edged sword comes in, is that it also became one of my survival strategies, or I developed that strategy because what I was doing when I first moved here was not working. Like, I was full on into my spirituality, full on, like not drinking, not smoking, like not, um, I would do Kundalini. Like, it was getting to the point with my Kundalini that I was like, oh, I need to like go there at 4 a.m. and like do it, and that was like feasible for me. That was realistic. That was something I was genuinely considering. But um, and like the discipline that I had, and of course, I yearn to get back there, and I will. But um, but that wasn't working for me because I was not able to relate to other people. I was I was seen as very uncool, and I was like not tripping about that, but I was like, dang, like no one gets me, and also, um, I mean, no one wants to like be overly ostracized, no one wants to be ostracized. I mean, unless for good reason, unless you're like, I don't know, so. But it was funny because I felt like such an alien when I moved here, and no one could understand me, and I like couldn't understand them either. Like, there were certain times where people would say like a full sentence, but it was done in a way that was like kind of slangy, or like pop culture, like cultural, like urban culture, something like that. And I'd be like, what do you mean? I would be like in my head, like, what do you mean? And I would have to ask, but I don't care. I have to ask all the time. I recently had to ask, like one of my friends was like, dang, that's sus. And I was like, what is that? Like, what's sus? And they're like, suspicious. And I'm like, oh, dope. Okay, like, what else? These things are so funny, and they make tons of sense when you figure them out. Um, but anyway, I don't think that's that important. Freaking, what I really wanted to say, like, why I came on here was like, I like these lessons and messages that are more or less cryptic that I've been, you know, that I've been listening to and following lately is like see Hierophant in reverse. By the way, this is I really need to look that up because that is continuing to happen. Um, but I associate the Hierophant with such like positive, like sage, like wisdom, advice. You know, like kind of like the person you go to in the community in an ancient community. What did they call? I think they call them like an oracle. And so I remember that from art history. Um, that's what I imagine a hierophant to be. But also, isn't the hierophant like the Pope? And the Pope is like the kind of physical representation of the religion. Yeah, so physical embodiment of the values of the religion and the teachings of the religion. So it's like a shaman. Um, so no, one of the things here's the thing, like I learn a lesson or I'm presented with a lesson worth learning of, and it takes me a couple times to like not do it right, you know, and then like there's a real true lag, like, and I've been like that. I do that. It's like learning through trial and error or something. Like there's something about me that you can tell me the first time, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, I see what you're communicating, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good point, or like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, or whatever. But um, as far as like putting it into action, as far as like putting it into action, it's like gonna take a couple of like times of failing at it. It's just Wizard Universe again. I don't know. I mean, I'm not like just like I just totally canceled yesterday's reading and I deleted that video because I was so depressed. Not depressed. Like depression isn't a day thing. Like that's not proper depression. I'm literally feeling, dude. I'm done. Like I am just done. No, everything in my body. Like there's one thing that would make me feel better, and then until that happens, like I'm done. There's like a very crucial, big missing piece. You know what I mean? And you want me, and I'm exhausted. I'm not giving up. I'm not stopping. That's not what this is. But I'm setting my boundary. It's to the point where it feels cruel to me. I'm setting my boundary, and that I feel emotionally toyed with. And to me, that's cruel. And that's the truth. I don't think anyone involved in any of this is trying to hurt me. And after having been hurt, like I'm beyond grateful and I appreciative, and I see that. But also, I have my boundaries, like done. So, but okay, I'm available for the tangent. I'm available for like the natural flow of this conversation. But there is something I really came here to mention and to acknowledge is that it has been made clear to me, and I don't know exactly how direct I can communicate this, but I'm going to take a chance and just do that because it has become clear to me that you do not share your birthday with others. And guess what? You also don't share your gifts with others. Not unless they're family. Like, bam. Not like you just were born to them and no, I'm talking like fam, like people you align with and trust, and you know their truest intentions that they'll do with whatever information you give to them the right thing. Um, don't don't give people too much info. It's like I here's the thing is like this, for instance, that specific information I feel like wasn't has been a message sent to me from higher power. And like I heard it 2 days ago. Had an opportunity to execute twice, I think even. One naturally on my own. The second one after I heard the information. And at both times I gave away my information. Silly. But I'm not gonna sit around and like hurt myself. I mean, not hurt myself, but like, what is that called? Beat myself up. Um, because at the end of the day, like I genuinely believe that in both of those scenarios, the people that I slipped up and gave that information to do not mean harm to me. And I'm grateful for that. And so, therefore, I can move on and be more private ultimately and increasingly discerning. Also, I think that goes for like origin of birth too. Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's your identity. Like, that's your entity. Yeah. Yeah. So, message received, like lesson learned. And I'm sure there's more and more and more lessons to learn where that comes from. Okay, so yeah, heard. It's like full circle basically, and you know, I'm not confused. I don't know what else I want to talk about. Me coming to Los Angeles solo. I came out. We came out sideways. Okay, another thing that I know that has been communicated to me that resonates and I'm understanding more clearly is is that my partner is not a knight. A knight is someone who is still learning. It's like an apprentice or sorts. And or or are they like or again? I want to like look further into it. Um, but like a knight's not a king, and a king's not an emperor. Like there's obviously some sort of like learning process or hierarchy of all that. So there's differentiations. And I'm not with a knight because I'm not what would that be in girl terms? I'm not a maiden. So or maiden. Literally don't even know. I'm sure they just like do laundry and like don't they like do laundry and like clean the house and stuff? Like I mean there's nothing wrong with those activities. I'm just curious, like, because I'm referencing specifically in my mind the movie with Drew Barrymore in the '90s. Like, what's that called? Cinderella or something? I should have watched that. Hold on. Okay, well, it's because we have no internet. So. Well, whatever. If you know, you know. Yo, that's also a cool thing. IK, YK. Hope you guys like loud screeching noises in your ear. No, but yeah. To me, I feel like the last 4 months has been a matter of like accumulating the tools or messages that need to be fully implemented, fully developed, like fully developed over the coming years or whatever is to come, you know. But there's one big aspect of this that, you know, like I'm sorry, but I'm not initiating too much more than what has already been accumulated or initiated until that moment, until the missing aspect of this that would bring so much balance and so much comfort. You know, like I genuinely just like can't. I cannot keep doing it, and it's not meant to be done alone. How about that? It's not. I have no doubt in myself that I have all the tools and capabilities to do all of this, but I need that structure and I need that masculine energy. I've got the feminine energy in all her aspects: swords, wands, pentacles, pentacles, and cups. Like these things are maybe not to the most refined that they can possibly be, but they exist. And then, therefore, that's more than you could ask for at this stage. They exist. Do they need to be further developed and honed? Yes. Can they? Yes. Will they? Yes. But I need my counterpart before that can happen, before I can consent to further developing this arsenal of skill sets.